Hello, we're here to reveal your Premier League goalkeeper of the season for the 2015-16 campaign. The nominees for this award were David De Gea, Aurelio Gomez, Hugo Lloris, Jack Butland, Joe Hart, Kasper Schmeichel and Petr Cech. Start with you, Matt. Who's your choice?
I think it's going to have to be De Gea, isn't it? There's been a lot of... I think the defending in the Premier League's been quite poor this season, but the standard of goalkeeping's been quite high. I think there's been a lot of good performers, but I think you're looking at De Gea again. He's United. The fact they're instilling a chance for the top four last game of the season is not mainly down to him, but he's played a big role in that. You know, United have had a good defensive record and he's had to make a number of excellent saves throughout the campaign. You know, you think about all the games that he's had to play in, and he's always made a standout save in all of them. And he's such a good presence back there, even though he's not the biggest man. His legs go everywhere, don't they? He makes all sorts of saves, and I think it's going to have to be De Gea. Yeah, he's been fantastic again.
He obviously started the season out of the team, didn't he? Because there was the whole transfer thing with Real Madrid, but then he's come and saved so many points. It's tough to think where Manchester United would be without him. See your choice as well, Pascal, and is there anyone else in the running for you?
I think the only one close to him in that list is Butland, really. I think he had a great... Obviously, season ended early because of injury, but I think De Gea just a fantastic player. I think he should be really high on sort of the overall players list for the Premier League. I think, obviously, you've got the likes of Kante, Mahrez and Kane right up there, but I think you don't see many goalkeepers usually go really high, but for me he's been one of probably the 5 best players this season. The amount of points he saved them, so good in goal. It didn't end great, that goal he let in at West Ham in the final penultimate game of the season, but certainly for me fantastic goalkeeper this season, and if they keep him again this summer they'll do a really good job. Yeah,
I think if they do finish in the top 4 it's pretty much largely down to him, but you're right to mention Butland. He's had such a good season, and for a lot of the campaign we were talking about him potentially putting pressure on Hart to be England's number 1. It's such a big blow for him to be out of the Euros now. It's a massive blow for him, and Hugo Lloris I think deserves a mention as well. The Tottenham defence has been really good in front of him, but him as well. Tottenham obviously got the best defensive record in the division, so I think those deserve a mention. But for me, I think I agree with David De Gea. I think just the amount of points he's won, as you mentioned, for Manchester United has been huge for them. How about Kasper Schmeichel for you? Obviously,
I think winning goal. You've got to mention Kasper, haven't you? Obviously winning the Premier League, matching his father, what he did. Petr Schmeichel, he probably never thought he's going to win that. Obviously he left City, didn't he, at a young age, and if he was there now he probably would be number 2 to Joe Hart, wouldn't he? So he wouldn't have had that chance, but he's been really good this season. You'll mention the players in front of him that have been great obviously, but Schmeichel's made a lot of great saves, and that Kasper Schmeichel's a Premier League winner is not something you thought would happen, certainly not at Leicester, so he certainly deserves a mention. Yeah.
And Aurelio Gomez, because Watford, they've had a great season, haven't they, but tailed off a bit, but he still had a pretty good campaign.
Well, so obviously he didn't have a great time with Spurs, sort of a bit of a comedy character when he was in the Premier League with Spurs, the amount of sort of gaffes he used to make, but he's made a lot of penalty saves this season for Watford, and he has done really well for them. Just the thing about Schmeichel, I'd say that certainly, I mean, the amount of clean sheets Leicester kept, especially in the run in there, I think that obviously their whole defence is really good, whereas some of these other goalkeepers, they've stood out just because the amount of saves they've made. But I can't really remember Schmeichel making that many sort of matches where he had like loads of saves to make. That's the only thing I'd say about him. But yeah, he's had a great season as well.
But we're all unanimous for David De Gea. Matt, do you want to reveal the results?
So, in the third place, we've got Petr Cech, which is quite a surprise. Arsenal goalkeeper, 6%. 2% is Kasper Schmeichel, 22% of the votes. But the winner, as expected, as we all agreed, is David De Gea, 56% of the votes.
That's a bit of a landslide, that one. I'm surprised to see Petr Cech there, to be honest, 6%. Obviously, we didn't even mention him there because I think he was out of the nominees for me. He would probably be lowest down, and no Butland on there, no Lloris. What do you make of those results?
Big surprise. I think Cech, he has had some games where he said, he's going to win Arsenal about 10 points this season. He's had some great games, but there's other games as well, where, at the start of the season he let those goals in against West Ham, and recently he's let a couple in at his near post. I mean, both good shots, I think, against Palace and in their most recent game, but certainly over the whole season, I think the others stood out above him. And yeah, really surprised not to see Butland in the top 3 at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk pre-season about Cech maybe being the fact that Arsenal needed to push on for a title race, winning them a lot of points, but hasn't really worked out that much. And I keep going back to De Gea. When you compare the amount of points De Gea's won for United to the amount of points Cech's won for Arsenal, it doesn't really compare, really. So De Gea, for me, is rightly well ahead in this result, but I'm quite surprised to see Petr Cech there.
Yeah, 56% is quite, obviously over half is, I probably expected it to be a little bit higher than that, to be honest, but I think what you said at the start of the video is good as well about De Gea. I think it would have been easy for him to throw his toys at the pram at the start of the season. We didn't get his move to Real Madrid, but he's got his head down, in fairness, signed a new deal, and he's continued to perform, and the fans love him, and he obviously does love the club because he stayed there, so deserved winner.
So no Butland or Lloris in the top 3, but David De Gea is your goalkeeper of the season for 2015-16.